We be live. Hi, everyone. Today, I want a lot of comments. First of all, like the stream. Also, thank you, Sarah. Which Sarah is here? I think Israeli Sarah is here, right? So we have an Iranian Sarah and an Israeli Sarah highlighting your comments. But today, we have the Israeli Sarah. We have two Sarahs on the volunteer team, guys. Highlighting your comments. People in the live chat are saying hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Please confirm that you have liked the stream. I want your comments about what happened. What do you think is going to be the results? In the Middle East. Let me turn this. Okay, good. The audio is working. That's a confirmation that the audio is working. Well, Israeli American. No, Sarah, did I get that? I asked her already. She said she's. Maybe I got this wrong. Sarah, are you Israeli American? Both Israeli and American, or just American? Jewish American? I don't know. We'll see. She will respond. Oh, yeah. Just moved to Israel. Okay, there you go. So Israeli American. Yes, I'm an Israeli. Somebody. Oh, great. We have people from Israel here. All right, guys. So we're going to be talking about the effects of the Trump win on Israel and on Iran and the Islamic Republic. And I want you guys to participate in this. I really want to get some sense about what you guys think. And you see your comments are being highlighted, right? So I'm going to use some other people's review on this as a excuse for us to get started on this, to get a feel about what's happening, and that's just going to be a starting point. I want to mostly focus on your opinions, but this is just to start things. Okay, so let's listen to some of the stuff people are saying. All right, so great. Also, tell me what you guys think. Are you guys excited, happy? Are you hopeful? Or you think like this is not as promising as some people think? Nothing's going to change. Things are going to change for the worse. And again, I'm specifically talking about the effects on the Middle East, right? And especially Israel and Iran. I'm not talking about the Supreme Court in the United States, the economy of the United States. I'm not talking about, I don't know, trans issues or wokeism in the United States or any of that. I'm not talking about abortion, any of that. Today, this stream specifically is going to be focusing on the effect of a Trump win on the Middle East. Okay, so let's try to keep it focused, right? And I will read this super chats once we get a couple of them, and I will read them together. Okay, so I'm not going to stop every time we're going to get a super chat, but once we get a couple, or maybe once we have a pause, I will read the super chats coming in. Oh, also, let me just do the first super chats just to get started. Sorgo is saying a fucking landslide. I'm shocked, but also not. Left party to blame for alienating white men. Same with Tate. People are sick of funding Israel, Ukraine. Okay, Ukraine and Israel. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this started because I want to come back to this, because I don't know if Trump supporters are gonna mind much about Trump funding Israel. I don't know. Like, let me know what you guys think about that, right? I don't think they will mind that. I think that they're willing to look away if Trump supports Israel financially or in any other way. So maybe I'm wrong about this. Here's one thing I know. I think Trump is very unpredictable, and I also think that he has such a loyal fan base that even if some of the things that he does are not in line with the philosophy that he preaches, his fans will forgive him for that. That's what I think. So I think that when it comes to Ukraine, we might see a lot less support. But with regards to Israel, there's a rhetoric-wise, we're going to see more support. But when it comes to actually backing Israel militarily and financially, that's a coin toss for me right now. And I want to see what you guys think, right? Because I know the Democrats, when it comes to backing Israel in the media, or when it comes to the battle of the narratives, the Democrats have been weak in supporting Israel, but they have been basically giving Israel almost everything that it wants to continue, and some more, right? And some more. Like they have been given, like in front of everybody, they sometimes condemn Israel. They don't condemn. They basically criticize Israel. They act like they are, drawing some red lines. But then when it comes to inaction, the Democrats have been very supportive. To be fair, they have been very supportive of Israel when it comes to actually giving Israel everything, almost everything it wants. Even the things that they held back were not necessarily things that Israel was going to get right away, or the things that were going to be a decide like much effective in the types of operations that Israel was involved with. But for example, the Democrats just recently give Israel also all the things that they acted like they want to hold back on giving to Israel with a little bit of a push. They just released it anyways. And also the thought system was just recently given to Israel, which is something which is a huge gift to Israel, and that was given to Israel by the Democrats, right? So I don't know if Trump's wants to stop supporting, wars. If he says he does, he says he wants to do that. So when it comes to Ukraine, it's a little bit more clear how that would look like. Maybe, I don't know. Trump is unpredictable again. But when it comes to Israel, Israel might benefit from Trump basically not pushing Israel or not trying to pressure it to to act in a certain way or to hold back. So I think Israel's hands is going to be more free now, untied to finish the job. However, would it because is the fact that Trump's policy is America first and that we are not going to stop supporting other people with their wars, is that going to, in another way, hurt Israel? So let me know what you think. Like, so in one way, it benefits Israel because there's not that much pressure anymore from Israel to operate in a certain way. Actually, that is also questionable because Trump has signaled that he wants to pressure Israel to finish the job faster. So that is some involvement. But at the end of the day, the analysis right now is that Trump's hands will be somewhat. I mean, Israel's hands will be somewhat untied with regards to what it's able to do. But what do you think about the military support that the Biden administration was giving to Israel? Is Trump's America First policy going to put a pause on that in the same way that it's going to put a pause on supporting Ukraine? So yeah, some people are saying like Trump is with Israel, Trump is with the Jews, and people like that in the chat. Yes, when it comes to narratives, when it comes to supporting Israel, in a moral sense, in a rhetoric sense, in a sense, in not condemning them, not criticizing them, not pressuring them. In that sense, Trump is with Israel. But what about when it comes to actually giving Israel the tools it needs? In that sense, maybe Trump is going to be less supportive of Israel compared to the Democrats. Let me know what you guys think. Somebody has this really deep analysis of Ukraine is not Israel. Well, I'm glad that you said that, Matt. I did not know that. I don't know why you're saying that. The fact still is that Trump is saying that he wants to stop involvement, stop supporting other countries with their wars, and if that's a general policy that he has, and if that applies with Ukraine, that would also apply for Israel. However, Trump is not famous for being consistent, so maybe that would, in that sense, yeah, the difference between Israel and Ukraine will show itself, and the lack of consistency here might mean that Trump will support Israel militarily in a way that it would not support Ukraine. I mean, maybe Israel will benefit for the lack of consistency here. But again, because Trump is unpredictable, and because he has signaled that he wants a policy that requires him to basically pull back on supporting any type of war, it is on the table. I'm not saying it will happen, but this option is on the table, that when it comes to the war of narratives, the war of appearances, the war of media, the war of, Trump would be better for Israel, but when it comes to both financially and militarily, maybe Trump is not going to be as good as the Biden administration for Israel. Let me know what you guys think. Let me see. We're getting super chats, more super chats. Gage an American saying, in my opinion, this election proved the loss of for moderates. Okay, yeah, but let's keep the opinions focused on the effect of this on mostly Israel and Palestine and Iran and Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East. Let's try to keep it there. So Sarah highlighted this comment: Trump's relationship with Putin is more important than with Netanyahu. That will strengthen Iran. So yeah, less pressure on Putin might help Iran, but not as much as you think. That will strengthen Iran. No, I don't agree with that. How do you pronounce your name? I'm going to call you Nathan. Nathan, right? I don't agree with that. Okay, so it's true that Putin has been supportive of the Islamic Republic, and a stronger Russia might help the Islamic Republic in some sense, but their relationship is not that one-to-one. Putin's support for the Islamic Republic has been very limited, very conditional, and Putin cares about his relationship with the Persian Gulf Arab states more than its relationship with the Islamic Republic. And Putin has backstabbed the Islamic Republic many times. So if not pushing back on Putin was actually that important, that beneficial for the Islamic Republic, you wouldn't see the Islamic Republic bots on social media trying to get the votes go towards Kamala Harris. So I disagree with this, right? So it's, first of all, remember, Putin and the Islamic Republic are not allies. Sometimes strategically they see eye to eye, but in so many places they do not. And in so many places they're actually competing against each other and stand against each other. This is why the Islamic Republic is completely isolated, because its so-called allies do not take it as seriously as many people think. So if you look into this election, Putin's bots on the social media were trying to get Trump elected, and as the Islamic Republic's bots on social media were trying to get Harris elected, right? So if Trump is good for Putin and a stronger Putin is good for the Islamic Republic, why is the Islamic Republic was trying to get Harris elected? So I don't agree with that. And I also think that a stronger Russia might somewhat benefit the Islamic Republic a little bit, but the result of a Trump maximum pressure on the Islamic Republic is going to be much more direct, much more correlated than the indirect relationship between a stronger Putin would be more beneficial to the Islamic Republic. Does that make sense? Trump is going to most likely go back to the maximum pressure policy that he had with the Islamic before, and that is devastating. Like, there is nothing that is devastating for the Islamic Republic, and there's nothing that a stronger Putin could do to make up for that. Okay, so yeah, guys, make sure you like the stream. All right, so let me actually play a little bit of this. Sarah, keep starring comments. I need starred comments about people's opinions so that I could read what people's opinions. Like, get the best comments, people who disagree, people who agree. Guys, I need more comments focused on what you think the Trump's win, what the effect of Trump win is going to have on the Middle East. Okay, that's what I need. That's the comments that Sarah is starring, and I'm going to be reading those. Right. Anyways, let me listen to a little bit of this. See, this is a video talking about what Israelis want. So let's listen to what Israelis actually, who were they hoping would win. So I think you guys know.
Polls have opened in the U.S., including in the battleground states of Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Millions of Americans will cast their votes to choose the next president. Tens of millions of ballots have already been cast in early voting. The Democratic contender Kamala Harris made her final appeal to voters in the swing state of Pennsylvania late on Monday night. And she says America is ready to turn the page on a decade of division. Well, the
Okay.
Republican contender.
Okay, I need to go faster to the part where you talk about the Israelis. Yeah, there we go.
So we'll stay with the U.S. election and look at the impact that the next president could have on conflict in the Middle East. Both candidates have promised continued support to Israel, diplomatic, military, and financial. Well, the Biden administration has vetoed at least 4 Gaza ceasefire resolutions at the United Nations Security Council. And Washington has provided nearly $18 billion in military aid to Israel since October 2023. Protesters and human rights experts accuse the U.S. of complicity in genocide. Dan Perry, who's a former regional editor for the Associated Press, he also served as the chairman of the Foreign Press Association in Israel, joining us from Tel Aviv. Thanks for your time. So a recent poll that I was looking at, conducted in Israel, shows that Israelis massively favor Donald Trump over Kamala Harris. And here are the statistics. I mean, about 66% chose the former president, while only 17% chose Kamala Harris. How do you explain that?
Well, there's a perception.
By the way, I heard that among the 66% of Israelis that supported Trump, many of them were also people who were anti-Netanyahu. Like even some people within Israel that don't support Netanyahu wanted Trump to win. I don't have the exact stats, but that's what I heard somebody else, like many of the people. I mean, some, obviously there's going to be some, but I heard, that was someone's impression. It's not based on stats, so I don't know. That's not reliable.
In Israel that Trump is simply instinctively in favor of anything the country does. Now, there is some opposition to Trump as well on the part of the liberal half of the country, probably more than half, that has a sense that Trump in power is good for perhaps Netanyahu, but not necessarily good for Israel because they themselves oppose Netanyahu's policies. But look, given the various steps that Trump took during his first term, he certainly has significant support here. And the right half of Israel, maybe more than half, maybe less than half, depending on issue, I think assumes correctly that Trump doesn't care that much about the humanitarian issues that have bedeviled the current government in its conflict in Gaza, especially.
Right.
So yeah, I understand why, but I think they may be in for a surprise because Trump is also very, very capricious. Trump has no patience with messy things, and I think the chance that Trump calls Netanyahu and says end the war no matter what is actually higher than the chances that.
What are you basing that on? What are you basing that on?
See, yeah, Trump has been constantly saying during his campaign that to Netanyahu about Israel that he wants to let Israel do the job, not stand in this way, but he also keeps saying that they need to end this war. They need to end this war right away. So what does that mean? Okay, because so it's not. It means that it wants to pressure Israel in some way. To do what exactly? So end the war no matter what. So because this does not look like a war that is going to end soon. So what does that mean? What is Trump going to do if it wants Israel to end the war soon? I mean, is it going to, and how is he going to pressure Israel anyway to end the war soon? Given that he doesn't want to be using any levers outside of American borders anyway. So I don't know what that means. So let me know. I mean, guys, to be honest, I don't even know if he knows what that means. He will deal with it once he gets to it. So let's see.
Well, statements where he actually said that I want the war to end, do it fast. I think he will care less about the means with which this is achieved, but the idea of putting up with a forever war, when Trump himself is on record as hating the notion of forever wars, I think stands on shaky ground. I mean, you talk a lot about how the Biden administration fled Afghanistan in truth. They were awkwardly implementing an agreement that Trump came to that was essentially a surrender to the Taliban.
By the way, I just want to be clear, guys, on this stream. I'm not going to take a side of any candidates in any of these elections. Okay, I'm just going to analyze what we together think will happen because of somebody being elected. I'm just going to look at the results regarding who has won, regardless of who has won, right? So we're not going to, on this channel, we're not going to be like, oh, we're pro this candidate or that candidate. We're just going to be like, okay, this candidate won. So objectively as we can, what is that going to translate to? What is that going to mean? What is that going to look like? Okay, so that's how you guys could take sides, and that's going to be highlighted. I'm just going to say from the position of the channel, how we're going to be analyzing all of this, not just this election, but any other elections going forward.
Awkwardly implementing an agreement that Trump came to that was essentially surrendered to.
Okay, Chess is saying, why is Trump's victory shocking to you? First of all, I never said it's shock. What's been shocking, okay, so first of all, this is an election that was 50-50, so no matter who won, it wouldn't be shocking. But the way he won is shocking, right? Because most analysts have predicted, like we're saying, that it could take a week before we know the actual results. So they were embracing for 1 week of waiting for, but the results were so clear. So whether Harris won or Trump won, neither of that would be shocking because the odds were so close to 50-50. But the fact that the results came in so clearly, so fast, that within hours it was clear that Trump is going to win, that's the part that is shocking. Okay, and if you're not shocked, it's because you're not paying attention. Okay, because that's what.
To the Taliban, because he hates forever wars. So I think Trump's impatience, I think his capriciousness, I think in general his inclination to show that he's wielding his power might work, in fact, against Israel. But of course, it also might not. It's definitely true that Trump is not going to care about what happens on the ground and who's killing there.
What about a Harris presidency? I mean, Harris has so far aligned herself fully with Biden's policies with respect to Israel, as well as obviously what's happening on the ground in Gaza and the wider Middle East, in fact. Do you think that could change if she were to win the presidency? And what would it mean for Israel?
I don't think it likely will. I hear the reports on your channel, Doreen, with respect. I think they're missing the point. It's not about forcing a ceasefire on people who refuse to have a ceasefire. It's about the goals, and the U.S. agrees with Israel's goals of removing Hamas, a vile terrorist group, that has committed the barbaric massacre and continues to oppress its own people, to remove them from Gaza. And they also agree with the idea that Israel cannot possibly put up anymore with Hezbollah parked on its border, firing rockets at it at the behest of Iran. And they actually believe, as frankly I do, that to remove Hezbollah is a favor to the Lebanese people first and foremost. So they agree with Israel's goals. Now, Harris.
Well, okay. That is something that we have to ask the Lebanese people about, obviously. But just make.
Oh wow! Did these guys see that? The news anchor, she didn't like what this guy was saying. It was like, listen, United States, regardless of who's in the Oval Office, they agree that Hamas needs to go, that Lebanese people need to be freed from Hezbollah. Like, it doesn't matter. Everyone in the U.S. agrees with this. So, and I think she didn't like that. Look at this. She was like, okay, let's stop. Let's stop with the pro-Israeli narratives here. look at this. This is amazing. yeah. Ooh, she happy. Yeah, listen to that.
Lebanese people first and foremost. So they agree with Israel's goals. Now, Harris.
Well, I mean,
okay.
No, wait. Look at the things that he was saying. Like, he's like,
that has committed the barbaric massacre and continues to oppress its own people, to remove them from Gaza. And they also agree with the idea that Israel cannot possibly put up anymore with Hezbollah parked on its border, firing rockets at it at the behest of Iran. And they actually believe, as frankly I do, that to remove Hezbollah is a favor to the Lebanese people first and foremost. So they agree with Israel's goals. Now, Harris.
Well, I mean, okay. That is something that we have to ask the Lebanese people about, obviously. But just make your point on Harris and what it would mean for.
Oh, just make your point about this other thing. I don't understand. We should ask the Lebanese people. Would she have said that if this man was talking about? Wait a minute. Like, if this guy was analyzing any other country or any other people's opinions or anything that is like, if this guy came and said like, oh yeah, Harris win would have been better for United States, and if he was an American, would she say like, well, we have to ask the Americans about that? Or if he had said like, oh, the Iranian people want to like are not happy with their government, would she come in and say like, wait, well, we have to ask the Iranian people about that? I think the sensitivity here kind of shows the anti-Israeli bias that we have in the media. Unbelievable.
For Israel.
Look, I know plenty of Lebanese, and I have no doubt. But okay, as for Harris, she agrees with Israel's goals also, but may be uncomfortable with the destruction that's caused along the way. Look, Biden basically has certain designs for the Middle East. There are certain things he wants from Netanyahu. He wanted Netanyahu to agree to a return of the PA to Gaza, for example, which would create a narrative that holds water. If they, for example, then go to the Arab countries and say, look, pressure Hamas, but really pressure Hamas to give up because there's this plausible narrative. Biden wanted this and no one played along. I think the chances that Trump forces the hand of everyone, of the Arabs to pressure Hamas, but for real, of Israel to agree to a plausible narrative is actually higher than the chances that Harris does this, because to the extent that Harris is continuity from Biden, Biden had a series of really good ideas that included in the end normalization between Saudi and Israel and a path forward to some version of Palestinian independence. No one agreed, and he sort of took it. I think Harris will possibly also continue to take it.
Okay.
Trump, with his unpredictability, as I say, might not.
All right, we'll leave it there. Dan Perry.
So yeah, this guy is basically kind of agreeing with what I was saying. The truth is, guys, I know like a lot of you are, you know, in favor of one side against the other, but when it comes to Israel, both parties, I know they act differently in front of the cameras, but it seems like both parties, like, I mean, Trump started the Abrahamic Accord, and the Biden, that was one of the policies of Trump that he completely took on and supported. So when it comes to the Abrahamic Accord, when it comes to creating an alliance between the Arab states and Israel, Trump started it. The Democrats agreed with it. When it comes to supporting Israel militarily, the Democrats, honestly, like, I don't know, they were quite supportive of Israel. We didn't like their narratives because we didn't like what they were saying about Israel on the media. And I know they do that because of their progressives. They're like Wokistani leftist part of the Democrats that they were concerned about. And I just hope that these Wokistanis vote becomes more and more irrelevant. I don't know if it's going to become irrelevant, but that was the Democrats were trying to support Israel while appeasing that side of their support at the same time, right? And I'm not gonna say that is not gonna cost Israel. So even though the Democrats basically almost give Israel everything he wanted, at the same time, the battle of narratives is important for Israel. So it does hurt Israel for the Democrats to go and act like they're not fully supporting him. Even if they are fully supporting them, acting like you're not fully supporting Israel costs Israel, because this is not just a battle of, you know, bullets and drones and tanks. It's also a battle of narratives. And Israel needs to win the battle of narratives as well, because its survival depends on it. So I guess in the sense you have to think which one is more important to Israel's long-term survival, right? So right now, Israel requires military support from the United States to finish the job, to fight its enemies. But long-term, Israel needs to win the hearts of minds of people all around the world. I know a lot of Israelis might disagree with me. I think that's not important. But Israel's survival does depend also somewhat on how the world views Israel. It's important that Israel also wins the media war, right? And that's partly why we are here, and many other people are doing what they're doing, and a lot of activists are doing, right? So I guess with the Democrats, so with the Trump now, one side is certain, the narrative war, the media war, Trump is going to be in full support of Israel. But the military, on the military side, it's kind of a coin toss. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think Trump is going to have the same level of support for Israel that the Democrats had, or is he going to pull back on that? Let me actually see what you guys are saying in the live chat. Sarah has highlighted some comments. So Canadian Sunset, it says a few days ago, Russia joined 51 other nations in supporting a Turkish call in the UN for a ban of weapons to Israel. Yes, that is true. Again, remember that when it comes to selling weapons to Israel, the main entity that we care about is the United States. Okay, everyone else selling weapons to Israel is like a fraction. It's much less important compared to the selling of weapons from United States to Israel. So I'm not going to say this is not important. And I don't know if this bans like this it will go through or not go through. I don't think it will go through. I think United States will veto shit like that. But it has a symbolic, like this kind of anti-Israeli propaganda on a global stage is costs Israel, right? So, but again, this, what you're seeing, this kind of ban on selling weapons to Israel does not hurt Israel when it comes to its ability to conduct war, right? Because Israel has the United States when it comes to weapons, right? But it does hurt Israel when it comes to its image. And that's the purpose of bans like this, because they know Israel doesn't rely as much on weaponry from other countries. This is just a symbolic gesture. And I'm not trying to dismiss it as unimportant when I say symbolic, because remember, Israel's image globally matters. If it didn't matter, and I know a lot of some Israelis try to pretend like it doesn't matter, but if it didn't matter, Israel wouldn't be investing so much in trying to change that. United States wouldn't be trying so much. We wouldn't be here doing what we're doing. You guys wouldn't be on social media defending Israel if it didn't matter. So it does matter, right? So remember, so let's call it the image war and the military war, right? This what's being highlighted here, even though it seems like it's about weapons selling, weapons not being sold to Israel, it's not part of the military war. This is part of the image war, because of the reliance on the United States when it comes to weaponry, right? And yeah, and Trump is good for Israel in the image war, but we'll see. We'll see when it comes to military how. Again, I'm gonna say that Trump's unpredictable. When I say Trump is unpredictable, that is sometimes a bad thing, especially when it comes for the economy. But for politics and war, it might be a good thing. The enemies of the United States, Trump has managed to do a lot with his unpredictability last time he was president, because people were like, if it is a part of game theory. One game that you could play is the Madman game, which makes you unpredictable and would make people basically fold and give in to you because they don't know what you're going to do. So his unpredictability has managed to get him a lot of wins. So when I say Trump is unpredictable, that's not necessarily always a bad thing, right? But it also means that we have no fucking idea. Like, we cannot be sure. We can't about when it comes to supporting Israel, how much Trump is going to be committing to that. Does that make sense? Let me know if you guys agree with that. Let's go to the next star comment. Brink is saying Trump has no real relationship with Putin. In his first term, he supposedly whispered to Putin, "If you try anything, I'll nuke." I think that's an N-U-K-E, Moscow or something along those lines. And Putin waited for Biden to move. Okay, so we don't know. These are rumors. We have no idea if this is true. Trump doesn't have to have a good or bad relationship with Putin. What matters is that Trump is going to stop supporting Ukraine in the same way that the Democrats do, right? So whether that's a pro-Putin position, even if he is not in love with Putin, right? So that's the point. Kim is saying, in my opinion, Trump winning the presidency is the best thing that happened for Ukraine. Ukraine cannot win a war of attrition. Trump will be able to strike a deal between those two countries. Okay, so the Ukraine-Russia war is not just about Ukraine. So your analysis misses the point that this is not about what's just in the best interest of Ukraine. This is about what's the best interest for the world liberal order. So Russia, like Putin, is not interested in stopping at Ukraine. Like Putin is coming for Eastern Europe and the Western liberal order. Ukraine is the battleground right now, fighting. So just like Israel is fighting the Western countries' wars against her enemies, against the Islamic Republic, against Hamas, against Hezbollah. So Israel is basically paying most of the cost fighting America's, Canada's, and Europe's enemies in the Middle East, namely the Islamic Republic of Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah, holding basically these are the guardians at the gate, the night watch, basically Israel. And these are people who, the people who are coming for Israel are not the people who want to stop at Israel. They want to come for Europe and North America. And Israel is just in their way. So in the same way, Ukraine is in the way because Putin, just like the Islamic Republic of Iran, Putin is also against the world liberal order, the Western world as a whole. And Ukraine is just that rock in its path that is trying to get it, to remove. So supporting Ukraine is basically a block, a wall between Russia and the world liberal order. Basically, these are the enemies of the world liberal order are Putin, the Islamic Republic of Iran and its proxies, the CCP. I'm not going to say China because China is actually good for the world liberal order but the CCP is as well, okay, and also North Korea, right? So these are the four enemies of the world liberal order, and supporting the enemies of these entities is supporting the world liberal order. That's how it works, right? So guys, make sure you like the stream so that we get more views on this channel, and subscribe if you're new here. No one is saying, I as an Israeli don't want Trump to save the Middle East. I just want him to not stand in our path to victory like Biden has. Okay, but to be fair, Biden has only been standing in Israel's way when it comes to what he says. But when it comes to what he does, I mean, he didn't do anything technically to stand in Israel's way. Like, what did he do other than say stuff? He gave Israel everything that they wanted. And guys, the THAAD system that the Biden administration gave to Israel, that is no joke. Like, that is like an Iron Dome equivalent. So I don't know if it's fair to say Biden was, when it comes to the media war, the narrative war, maybe yes, Biden was standing in Israel's way. But when it comes to the military, how was Biden standing in Israel's way in that sense? Tell me what you guys think. And also, when you say I don't want Trump to save the Middle East, I just don't want us to not stand in our way. That's not how anything works, Noah. Israel cannot, and that might seem like I'm going to tell you that this seems like I'm saying that Israel is weak, but I will tell you why that's not what this means. Israel cannot win any wars without the help of the United States. Any wars. So don't say, I don't want Trump to save the Middle East. If Israel has been powerful, if Israel has become a powerful country, it's because of its support from its allies and mostly from the United States. And that is not to dismiss Israel's strength, because every country becomes strong due to their reliance from their allies, due to their working with other countries. Like, that's true even for United States. United States was relying on support from other countries ever since its foundation. It wouldn't even be a country if it wasn't, I don't know, the French supported it, for example, when it comes to the independence from the British Empire. But United States became a superpower from its reliance by relying on other country. So this whole "we're strong by ourselves, don't stand in our way" is bullshit. You're not strong by yourself. Every country that is strong in this modern world because it understands that it needs other countries' support. Every country that is strong is because it did not try to do things on its own. Does that make sense? So yeah, no, you need United States. Israelis, here's the thing, the need is actually both ways. Israel needs United States and United States needs Israel. Okay, so don't underestimate how much support you need. Everybody in the world, in this is actually a feature of the world liberal order. We all need each other. The countries that are our enemies, they are the countries, the leaders of the countries that are our enemies are the countries that tried to do things on their own. They became isolationists. The Islamic Republic of Iran was an isolationist. That's why they're so pathetically weak. The same thing with Russia. Same thing with North Korea. China was an isolationist and it was pathetically weak. Then it tried to open its doors, and then it grew so freaking fast and became a superpower. And now it's going back to its old ways, and now that's why you see it crashing again. So let's go to the next person. Asian American saying, I think this will fast track the one-state solution. He was the one who moved Israel's capital from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Yeah, so again, there was another person who said that Trump is such a great ally of Israel because Trump moved the capital, basically accepted Jerusalem as the capital. Again, that's the media war. That's the appearance. That's the narrative war, right? I'm not saying that's not important, but again, which one would you rather have, right? So let's say if you could choose one, right? You had a president. As an Israelis in the live chat, I'm going to read your comments, okay? Israelis here. You had one president that says, I would not give you the THAAD system, the defense system, but I would recognize Jerusalem as your capital. And another president that says, I will not recognize Jerusalem as your capital, but I will give you the THAAD defense system. Which one of these two would you rather have? Again, I'm not saying Trump is not a president that will give you the THAAD system. If he does both, then he's the best, like he's amazing. So we have to see. The whole message that I have today for you guys is we have to see. Because when it comes to the narrative war, we can kind of be sure that Trump will be on the side of Israel, and Trump is not going to pressure Israel and tell it what to do, and it's going to leave its hands open when it comes to the narrative war, right? When it comes to the military support, that's a wait and see. I would say that's we don't know. We don't know. So people are saying this the second option. Lost Gus is saying the capital thing. Okay, Eli is saying Trump will do both. Well, if Eli is right, if Trump will do both, be behind Israel both on the narrative war and the military war, then the Trump win would have been very good for Israel. If Trump will support Israel in the narrative war, but not in the military, not support Israel militarily as much as the Democrats does, then the Trump win the cost-benefit analysis to Israel will become complicated. We have to come and see how are we going to evaluate the cost and benefit to Israel, right? Yeah, but it would be an easy win for Israel if we could see that Trump will do both, right? When it comes to the Islamic Republic, by the way, guys, so somebody's saying, what defense system? You guys don't know about the THAAD system, the THAAD that Israel, that Biden gave to Israel just recently before the election? We covered this in our previous streams. Guys, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you guys stay informed, okay? So what do you guys think about the Islamic Republic? The effects of a Trump win? Because here the analysis is a lot more clear. When it comes to lack of appeasement, okay, because militarily, when it comes to responding to the Islamic Republic militarily, the Biden administration or the Trump administration or the Harris administration, I think there's not that much of a difference. All of them would have had no appetite for going to a war with the Islamic Republic. Neither Trump, Biden, or Kamala Harris. I'm not saying that hands would not be forced in to do such a thing. Maybe we will go to war. United States will go to war with the Islamic Republic under any three of these presidents. But I'm saying that what's similar about all three of them is that none of them want to. They might be pressured to, but they didn't want to, right? So that is similar. So what's the difference? The difference is Trump believes in maximum pressure, and that means the sanctions are going to come back with a vengeance. Most likely, nothing is for certain, right? And also, Trump is not going to look the other way like the Biden administration did when it comes to the Islamic Republic being able to sell its oil at a bargain through Malaysia to China. So, yeah, that's going to end pretty soon. And remember, that's also good for Israel, because the funding that Hamas needed to be able to carry out October 7th, the funding of that came from Biden allowing the Islamic Republic to sell oil to China at record levels, even though they had sanctions and they shouldn't be able to do that. They basically looked the other way on purpose. They looked the other way on purpose because I know United States makes more oil than it consumes, so it has become an oil exporter, but the whole global market is connected. So higher oil prices has an inflationary effect in US's economy. Even though United States is now an oil exporter, it will still have an inflationary effect on US economy. And Biden didn't want that. So Biden looked the other way for the Islamic Republic to be able to sell its oil into the global market through China to keep the prices down. And that basically managed to get the Islamic Republic to fund its proxies in the region and be able to fund basically Israel's enemies. So in that sense, Trump is really good for Israel because Trump is going to put an end to that. And that would be devastating right now for the Islamic Republic. Basically, 40 years of funding Hamas and Hezbollah and Kataib Hezbollah and Hashd al-Sha'bi and the Houthis. Well, the Houthis are still. Hezbollah, for example, 40 years of funding that shit just went poof in 2 months of fighting with Hezbollah. So, and also the last attack of Israel on the Islamic Republic on Iranian soil managed to take out a lot of their missile manufacturing capabilities, their S-300s, and that is going to be that was painful for the Islamic Republic. Building all that back is going to be very, very costly. And if now Trump is here and they're going to come and put maximum pressure on the Islamic Republic, it's going to be very, very difficult for the Islamic Republic to recover and to be able to build its proxies back up in a way that will be a major threat to Israel as well. So in that sense, Trump is very, very good for Israel and also for the Iranian people. because remember, the weaker that the Islamic Republic gets, the stronger the Iranian people are going to become against their own regime. I do like Reza Pahlavi's amendment to Trump's strategy, and I'm hoping that we could see more discussions between Reza Pahlavi and Trump, because we saw a red line has already been crossed when Reza Pahlavi met with Netanyahu, and a lot of Iranian people who are fans of Reza Pahlavi have done a very, very, very good job to signal to Israelis and the Israeli people, and now to the Israeli government, that the Iranian people are not Israel's enemy, and a bond has been created between the Israeli people and the Iranian people, and that's going to have some effect on the politicians. So you could see the more Israelis have recognized that the Iranian people are not their enemies, slowly that translated into the lines that Israeli politicians are using. The lines that the narratives that they have right now is different from before. You can see more emphasis on Israeli. I know this was already there before, but the emphasis is now higher, that our war is not with the Iranian people, is with the Islamic Republic. And if and I think Reza Pahlavi basically might have sparked either sparked it, or it was just the signs of things to come when he went to Tel Aviv and met with Netanyahu. And I think a lot of Israelis noticing that, oh, this is the popular opposition in Iran. Reza Pahlavi is the main politicians that the Iranian people like, and this guy comes to Tel Aviv and meets with Netanyahu and wants a friendly relation with Israel. That was like an eye-opening moment for a lot of Israelis, right? So if we could get Reza Pahlavi to meet with Trump, and I know Trump is somebody that is very easily emotionally affected when somebody comes and meets with them and tells them, I mean, that, oh, the Iranian people, I don't know, maybe because a lot of Iranian, here's the thing that a lot of people might not know. I'm not saying most, I don't know the numbers, but many people within the Iranian opposition adore Trump, and some of them are here in the live chat. Okay, many Iranians adore Trump because they think that Trump was the person that killed Qasem Soleimani. Okay, when Trump killing Qasem Soleimani was a major winning point for him in the eyes of many Iranian people. Qasem Soleimani was hated with passion by many Iranians, and Trump killing him made Trump have a lot of fans in Iran. And the maximum pressure on the Islamic Republic, a lot of Iranians made a lot of Iranian people love Trump. There are two things that Trump has said that made some Iranian people maybe become a little bit skeptical about supporting Trump. One time, Trump said that if we attack Iran, there are 50 cultural sites that we're going to be hitting. He tweeted that, and a lot of people are like, "What the hell? Like, what cultural sites? Like, are you talking about our ancient, Persian culture? Like, are you gonna hit Persepolis?" And the Islamic Republic really used that tweet as a way to say, look, Trump is not just against the Islamic Republic, he's against Iran as a whole and the Iranian people. So that tweet was kind of damaging. And more recently, Trump on the Valuetainment podcast, he came and said that he's not interested in doing anything that would lead into regime change in Iran. And some Iranians were disappointed in that. I mean, to be fair, they should have expected him saying that he doesn't want to do anything. Like, he has always signaled that he doesn't want to get involved with, regime change or change, meddling in other countries. But another line he said made a lot of Iranians upset, because Trump said if the Islamic Republic, if the Ayatollahs basically agree not to have nuclear weapons, he would be okay with them. And that made some Iranian people upset. But still, he has still a huge fan base. And I think that if Trump keeps changing his positions, like, he's not very specific about what he means when he says certain things. So when he loses some fans, when he says stuff like this, He could easily just come and say something else tomorrow that wins all of them back, right? Really easily, to be honest. It's just amazing how this works. But and also, if Reza Pahlavi meets with Trump, I think it's going to have a huge impact in Trump adopting certain narratives that Netanyahu is now using, certain lies like separating the Iranian people from the government. If Trump starts using that language, it's going to become very beneficial to the Iranian people. So, because Reza Pahlavi, he took the line from Trump when he said maximum pressure on the Islamic Republic, and he completed it. So Reza Pahlavi's line is maximum pressure on the Islamic Republic, maximum support for the Iranian people. And if Trump, if Reza Pahlavi meets with Trump and somehow that line becomes something that comes out of the mouths of Trump, then he's going to completely win over the Iranian people. And he doesn't need to do much. Like, people are like, yeah, Armin, but as a Trump supporter, I don't want Trump to come and do regime change and like help the Iranian people in regime change. Honestly, I don't think he needs to do much. If he just saying these things, it's going to provide a lot of support for the Iranian people. It's going to embolden them. It's going to give them some confidence. It's going to make seem like things are turning. This is like a turning point in the Middle East, and everything seems to be going against the Islamic Republic. And seeing Trump putting maximum pressure on the Islamic Republic is going to make a lot of people think like, okay, the Islamic Republic is on its way out. They're going to become weaker and weaker. And a lot of the opposition, so the opposition's confidence comes in waves, right? So when people come and unite and go into the streets, all of a sudden everybody gets very, very, emboldened and confident that, okay, this is the push that maybe will take away the regime. And then a couple of months passes and years passes and the regime is still in the place. And you see going like a lot of less confidence in the people's ability to be able to topple the regime, right? But now, right now we're on one of those low points. But now when people see Israel so easily coming out and taking high officials of the Islamic Republic, they think like, oh my God, maybe Israel is helping us. Maybe if they could pressure the Islamic Republic from that front, maybe they will become pathetically weak enough to the point that we could push them from within at some point. And now if Trump comes imagine this, you have a Bibi doing maximum pressure militarily on the Islamic Republic, devastating its, destroying eliminating its proxies, taking out some of its highest officials. That's Israel. And then Trump comes in from the other side and puts sanctions on the Islamic Republic, economically devastating the IRGC, closing the loopholes. So we have Israel on one side, Trump on, Bibi on one side, and Trump on one side, and the Iranian people think like, okay, so now it's our turn from the other, and a third pressure from the inside. I think maybe all three of these pushing at the same time, that's the thing that you need to do to basically really challenge the Islamic Republic. The combination of Bibi, Trump, and the Iranian people, it takes all of them at the same time to maybe make a significant change. And again, the significant change might not necessarily come in the form of a toppling of the regime, but might come in the form of so much pressure on the regime that it will paralyze it and people will have the upper hand in many areas. But it might come in the form of toppling as well. We don't know. Anyways, we got some super chats. Let me address the super chats and then I will respond to your comments. Jan is saying, ignoring totalitarian ideologies and avoiding debate only fuels their growth until they inevitably threaten us all. That's true humanity, by the way. Okay, I don't know what this is a response to. Ignoring totalitarian ideologies. Yeah, are you talking about the Islamic Republic? Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about these four regimes, the CCP, the Islamic Republic, Putin, and North Korea's regime, then I agree. I mean, the Western the world's liberal order should not. I do not agree with this isolationist mindset that we should just focus on home. because your enemies are not focusing on their home. Okay, your enemies are coming for you, so you cannot just focus internally on your country when the enemies are coming for you. You have to go at them. So if that's what you mean, I completely agree. Amit is saying you are an eye opener to the Iranian people. Oh, well, thank you. I mean, to be fair, the Iranian people are an eye opener to me as well. I learn from them. It's a mutual relation. It's like we're both from learning from each other. But thank you so much, Amit. I appreciate the compliment. Let's look at some of the comments that has been starred by our Israeli American Sarah. So we have we have two Sarahs. We have a British Iranian Sarah. Am I correct? British Iranian, right? And an Israeli American Sarah. So there's two Sarahs. Today we're getting aid and support from the Israeli American Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. So Gasian American saying, oh no, I already read this one. Let's go. Shohreh is saying Trump's winning will affect the behavior of all dictators. No appeasement. Yes, the no appeasement is good, but what about the advantage of having Trump over Harris when it comes to all of these dictators is mostly the Islamic Republic actually and CCP is that there's going to be no appeasement. Okay, however, there's also going to be no support for the enemies of US's enemies in the same way as before, right? So we're not going to see as much support for Ukraine. For Israel militarily, we have to see. So when it comes to the no appeasement part, that is definitely a win for sure when it comes to Trump. I agreed with Shorter on that. Kurt is saying this will spell the end of the woke era. I'm not sure about that, guys. Remember, the wokeism peaked during the Trump's previous presidency. So I'm not saying this is going to be repeat, but I cannot help but think that many wokes are actually happy that Trump won. It's harder because wokes rely on scaring the public of fascism taking over, right? And it's harder for wokes to make an enemy out of the Democratic Party to grow their base. It's easier for them to make Trump become the boogeyman that you should be afraid of. So this might actually help wokeism. Remember, after the Trump loss with the Biden administration, wokeism became more and more of a joke, even among Democrats, even among left liberal people, right? So we have left wokeist people and left liberals. And it was more and more of a trend to make fun of wokeism, even among people who were not right-leaning. But maybe wokeism's era is over overall because it was such an idiotic trend, but maybe they will have a comeback because, they might have an easier time to scare people. I don't know. We'll see. So wokeism might have a comeback because of Trump. And I know almost for sure that many of them secretly are happy. They have had such a hard time making people angry at the Democrats. This is going to be so much easier for them. So Mr. Herman is saying Trump moved the U.S. embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which meant and means a lot to us. Yeah, okay, but again, I'm not saying that is not influential and important, but which one is more important? That or like I'm not saying that I'm not choosing for you. I'm just asking, because I've seen different people having different answers. That or the THAAD defense system. So break yourself is saying, didn't the IRGC threaten to take Trump out? Yes, he did. He's going to do everything he can to topple the regime, in my opinion, financially at first. Okay, so So this is why you always get mixed signals from Trump. When the IRGC threatened to assassinate Trump, Trump came out and said, like, if that happens, I want the U.S. government to nuke the entirety of nuke Iran. So all of a sudden, Mr. Isolationist, we don't have to, America first. We don't want to get involved in other countries. All of a sudden, he went full nuclear, right? And again, that's why it's always a coin toss with Trump, even when it comes to these things. So we have to see. I mean, if for Trump things gets very personal, and I think that if the IRGC makes the mistake of making it personal, then Trump might not give a shit about the promises that he made, and he might fuck them up just because it's now personal. Okay. So I don't know. So here's an interesting thing. Okay, so remember, Trump was very, 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 very aggressive against North Korea, and then he really quickly turned, and then he went and took pictures with them, and he was the first president to step foot in North Korea, and he became buddies. So that was like a really like he was the most aggressive against North Korea, and then he all of a sudden turned to the most friendly, like on a most like it was so fast. The change was crazy fast, right? And also, like, for example, with NAFTA, Trump mentioned that NAFTA is the worst deal in the history ever. In the history of civilization. Okay, the worst deal anybody has ever had. And then he threw away NAFTA, and then he brought another deal that was basically just NAFTA. It just has his name on it. It was almost the same thing, which I'm very happy, by the way, that he did that, because if Trump economically wants to take things more of the isolationist route, the NAFTA deal was the most important trade deal the United States has. And now that Trump has brought a NAFTA 2.0 and has his name on it, no matter how isolationist the United States wants to go, the NAFTA deal is safe because it has Trump's name on it. So that's going to stay there. I mean, he didn't call it NAFTA, but it's basically NAFTA, right? So when it comes to this is how the Iranian people could get very disappointed if this happens, because it might be that Trump threw away the deal that Obama had with the Islamic Republic, and if he won a second term against Biden, he was just going to do his own deal, another deal with the Islamic Republic. He has signaled many times that all he wanted to do was put maximum pressure on them and get another deal with the Islamic Republic. So Trump's priority seemed to be just that I want it to be my deal, right? So remember, NAFTA was replaced, the worst deal in history was replaced with another deal that was basically almost identical. But the important thing was that the first NAFTA deal was the Clinton deal, but now this is Trump's deal. So the disappointment that many Iranian people could see is that Trump just wants to have his deal with the Islamic Republic. And if Trump negotiates with the Islamic Republic in the same way that he was very, very anti-North Korea, and all of a sudden he went and signed a whole bunch of deals with them that went nowhere, to be honest, he might be doing the same thing with the Islamic Republic. He might go aggressively at the beginning, and then all of a sudden sign a deal with them and come and sell it as the best deal that you could, like, oh, the Obama deal sucked, and now this is the best deal that you could have ever gotten. And if Trump ever agrees to any deal with the Islamic Republic, a lot of Iranians are going to be devastated and very disappointed. Okay, here's how that might not. Here's a reason why that might not happen, is because Trump might have made the Islamic Republic not be able to sign a deal with Trump because he killed Qasem Soleimani. So remember, Qasem Soleimani is now the 13th Imam of Shia Islam in Iran. He's like, he has turned into a saint figure, right? He has become he was already a saint figure before he died, but his martyrdom has turned him into like a holy figure now in the eyes of the Islamic Republic. And Trump is the person that killed Qasem Soleimani. So even if Trump wants to sign a deal with the Islamic Republic, because Trump loves doing deals, right? Trump likes to put maximum pressure on them and then sign a deal and then say that this is the best deal that we ever gotten. A lot of Iranian people might disagree with me, but it might be that Trump just wants a deal, right? Iranian people want the Trump to do no deals with the Islamic Republic, no negotiations, no agreement, nothing. But given the record that we have with North Korea and how much Trump likes to do deals, that might be Trump's plan, to put maximum pressure, but not to continue doing maximum pressure. The whole point of the maximum pressure of Trump might have been to get the Islamic Republic to come to the table and sign a deal that has Trump's name on it. But Trump has made this very difficult for the Islamic Republic to do because Trump killed Qasem Soleimani. And now, even if the Islamic Republic wants to sign a deal with Trump to get the sanctions lifted, it's a very hard sell to their own base regarding why are we fucking signing a deal with the man that killed Qasem Soleimani? Like, how are they going to spin that? How are they going to sell that to their own base? I mean, they might. How would I sell that to my base? If I was the Islamic Republic and Trump came in and put maximum pressure on my economy, and I'm fucking devastated, and I'm my survival is being threatened, and I'm like, okay, fuck it, we will sign a deal with Trump, even though he killed Qasem Soleimani. He cooked a cutlet out of him. I will come to my base and I would say the Shia way. The Shia way is to act like you're winning, right? The Shia way is that when you have a sword shoved in your ass, you come and say that, oh, look what I have done. I have captured with your sword with my anus. Okay? That's the Shia method. So they might come and pretend that they were the ones who somehow forced Trump to come and sign the deal. That's what they would do. And honestly, some of their followers are so stupid that they might buy it. That's some of their followers always buy this, but more and more of their followers are coming to the realization that they're being fooled by the regime. Yes. So let's go to the next point. All right, so Sarah, don't start any more comments because I have so many start comments to respond to. So let me go through these really quickly. Unknown, it says it means that U.S. will cut funding for Iran. USA gives a lot of money to terrorists in the background. No, United States does not give money to the terrorists. Unknown. That's a lot of conspiracy theories. United States if United States right now under the Biden administration is financially advantageous to the Islamic Republic, is because they let the Islamic Republic sell oil to China, even though it is against the sanctions they have put in place. So that's how the Islamic Republic is getting funding from the Biden administration. They're not funding them. They're not sending them any money. That is stupid. Okay. Karen is saying to consider him any capacity is too insane. To consider him any capacity? Okay. It's too insane. I can't believe this was a legitimate election. To think that a felon who has no common sense. Okay, so when you say it's a felon, he hasn't been okay, so wait. To think that a felon who has no common sense, compassion, empathy, or able to put together a reasonable and rational speech would have any ability to run anything. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, even if you consider him a felon, many felons have been very good at moderating and managing stuff. I don't think these things are related. And also saying he has no common sense, that's an exaggeration. He has been good at many things. He has been good at marketing. He is good at media. He's good at changing the narratives. He is good as so no common sense. Like a man that is good at marketing has some sense in some ways. Like, you might disagree. I disagree with a lot of his positions, but to say he has no common sense, I think is pushing it. And saying he has no compassion and empathy, I don't think that's, these are black and white exaggerations. You might say somebody has not enough compassion, not enough empathy. I mean, I don't think he hasn't demonstrated to have zero compassion or zero empathy. I think these are these absolute statements makes analysis not worth considering. Like, people, guys, when you see people commenting on stuff, and when they speak this much in black and white absolute terms, it's hard to take you seriously when you're not speaking on a spectrum, where you're not nuanced with your, like, this is just seems like somebody who's just angry, that is just is not trying to think deeply about things. And saying or able to put together a reasonable, rational speech. Yeah, I think these are just exaggerations. Would have any ability to run anything. I mean, he has run things. He has been good at running. He has businesses that failed, and he has businesses that were very successful. He has run things that has been successful. Again, if you want to criticize somebody, be more specific. Don't do a blanket criticism of everything that person does or says or thinks. That makes your analysis not very worth considering. I say, look at his so you say, look at his record of failures and destruction of people in his wake, for God's sake. I mean, so you want to look at, he has a high record of failures, but he also have a high record of success, and you're just looking at one side again. So that analysis is just very, very one-sided, lacks nuance, can be taken seriously, in my opinion. Mystic is saying the Democrats spoke with two voices. Well, because to be honest, the Democrats, I wouldn't blame the Democrats for speaking in two voices, because they have two bases. Imagine if you are a Democrat politician trying to be elected. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You try to get elected, and you have a base. You have two bases. One is a liberal base, a leftist liberal base, and then you have a leftist Wokistani Mujahideen base that is like freaking crazy, and you kind of need both of them. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do as a politician if I don't appease both of them? I'm not going to get elected. So if you see that they're speaking with two voices, it's because they're supposed to be two parties. The Democrats supposed to be two parties, but they've just been turned into one party. They should have they should have a liberal. So the Democratic Party, if the United States was not a two-party system, should be. I think we should have four parties, basically. The Republican is also now two parties, right? So the Democrats should divide into liberals and progressives. So get rid of the Democratic Party and create the liberals and the progressives. So separate them. And the Republicans should be turned into the conservatives. And I don't know what the Trump and the Trumpists. I don't know what name we will come up with for that. So we have the Republicans, who are traditional conservatives, who are not isolationists. I don't know where they are anymore. Do they have a voice anymore? They have nobody. Like the Republican Party has been taken over by Trumpists, and I don't think they're politically homeless right now. And they cannot make a new party anymore, because the United States only recognizes it's only a two-party system as of right now. So so the conservatives, the neocons, for example, they are politically, like, they have It's very interesting how influential these people are, and that has not translated into having powerful Trump has basically came and took over their party, have made them completely homeless, right? So the Republican Party, even though it has two bases, it doesn't somehow it has managed to completely put aside the neocons and the traditional conservatives, and the Republican Party is now Trump's party, almost not. I shouldn't speak in absolutes, almost, right? But the Democrats have not managed to been able to push aside any of these two, either the leftist liberals or the progressive. They're both quite present in that party, so that's why they seem like a chicken with its head cut off. Yeah. So, Gan, I don't know how to pronounce your name. What is the chance that the IRGC gets overthrown if harsh sanctions are put under Trump? So, that the chance of that is something that is not calculatable. Is that a word? I just made a word. Uncalculatable. So here's the short answer. We have no fucking idea. We just know the chances will increase. So if the IRGC is good at one thing, is suppressing the unarmed Iranian people. Okay, that's the only thing it's good at. It sucks at fighting Israel. It sucks at anything. Like, honestly, it's pathetically weak. It sucks at responding to the United States. The only thing that it's good at is pushing back the Iranian opposition. The problem is that does not require that much of a cost. Fighting Israel is very costly. Fighting United States is very costly. So if you have sanctions, it will very much reduce the ability of IRGC to fight back against Israel or United States. But fighting back against the Iranian people, that is not as expensive. And they have become very good at it. However, it will still be influential. Don't get me wrong. It will be influential. And the main, so the reason why it's so easy for for this reason, given that it's easier for IRGC to crush the opposition within its borders, the best way to get the IRGC to fall is to turn it against itself. And that's what Reza Pahlavi is trying to do as well. The Reza Pahlavi is looking for people within IRGC to give up and turn against the regime itself. And a lot of people have accused Reza Pahlavi for being, maybe an IRGC sympathizer for doing that, but that's bullshit. This might be the only way. And an Israeli, Israel making the Islamic Republic look pathetically weak, and more women in Iran coming into the streets without their hijab might have that effect on the IRGC. These are the two blades of the same scissor. And again, it's very important. Please understand that women in Iran taking off their hijab is far, 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 far more important than the right to choose what you wear. A lot of people in the West don't understand this. A lot of people think that, the hijab, women in Iran are taking up their hijab. This is about the right to choose what you're wearing. It's far, it is that, don't get me wrong, but it's far more important than that. It basically, it could be the Achilles heel of the government. Remember, the hijab is not just, in Iran, the hijab is not the tool to suppress women or to try to reduce sexual immorality. The hijab is the Islamic Republic's flag. And taking the hijab off is taking down the flag of the Islamic Republic. It's tearing down its billboard. it's a signal of war. Removing a hijab, either intentionally or unintentionally by Iranian women, is a signal of war, is a signal of the weakness of the regime in enforcing Sharia law in its own borders. So there's two sides of these signals of weakness, either when it comes to the hijab or the Israeli military showing how pathetically weak the regime has become, has made a lot of the closest people to Khamenei, or the most highest up people within the IRGC, doubt the legitimacy or the effectiveness of the entirety of the path that this regime has been taking, not since the 1979 revolution, Islamic Revolution, but since the takeover of the American embassy in Tehran in the same year, 1979. This is becoming quite clear that a lot of people within the regime think that the way the step that the time, the exact time that they started going the wrong way was not the time that they did the revolution, was shortly after. So some of the closest people to Khamenei are now considering that this anti-Americanism, anti-Westernism, anti-Israeli direction that they have gone is why they are so pathetically weak right now. And they are turning on each other. And this is not, this is something that we used to say before, but this is now, just last week, Khamenei gave a speech that made it obvious that our guesses were completely correct. Khamenei gave two speeches recently. The first speech, people were waiting. So Israel just recently took out 20 military sites in Iran in response to the 200 ballistic missiles that the Islamic Republic sent towards Israel, right? On October 26th. So October 1st was Islamic Republic attack, and October 26th was Israel's response. Now everybody was waiting to see if the Islamic Republic will go the route of this was nothing, we don't need to respond, or we will come for you, and the third response is going to be the strongest, blah, 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 something we call Rajas Khani, basically barking, right? So initially, it seemed like the Islamic Republic is going to go the route of this was pathetically weak, nothing happened, we're not going to respond. And Khamenei also came in and he gave a speech that seemed like he was not, it was, the tone was not as aggressive as usual. But then a couple of days after, Khamenei came and gave a second speech, and he was a lot more aggressive. And he said that we're going to, and it seemed like the line coming up from the higher ups is that the Islamic Republic is going to respond. It's going to respond strong, and it's going to be devastating to Israel. But in that speech, where everybody was waiting to see where Khamenei is going to respond to Israel or not, he started talking about the taking over of the embassy in 1979 by the students right after the revolution, and how that was the correct thing to do. You have to understand why now, more than 40 years after, when we're talking about a potential full-on face-to-face, head-to-head war between Israel and the Islamic Republic, Khamenei in his speech would come and talk about something that happened more than 40 years ago and how that was the correct decision. Do you understand what's happening here, guys? This is very, like, I don't know if I'm getting into too much nuance. Let me know if I'm getting into too much nuance here. Because he said that was the correct decision. And then he also, so Darker is saying, who knows what is going on behind the scenes? I know, because Khamenei in the speech, he said that, this was a major revelation. He basically gave us this peek behind the curtain about what's happening. Because then he said I know many of the same people that actually climbed those walls are today skeptical regarding whether or not that was the right decision. But it was the right decision. So we just saw a peek behind the curtain. So Khamenei was addressing this not to the reformers, not to the opposition. He was addressing this to the hardliners who were unsure, who are now, because these voices were always there among the hardliners. So remember, there's the three groups. We have the ban on those people who want the regime to topple. We have the reformers who are now the weakest that they have ever been, even though we have a so-called reformer president apparently in office. And then we have the hardliners. So we're not talking about the division between these three groups. We're talking about divisions within the hardliners themselves. And Khamenei, these hardliners, some of these hardliners were always there speaking, like maybe this was not the best thing to do. But now the voices of these hardliners are becoming louder than ever because of these two elements that I'm telling you, because of the hijab and because of Israel. Because of hijab and because of Israel. Because these two are what visibly demonstrate the most how wrong the path that the Islamic Republic is on is. It shows the weakness of this regime, these two. Israel's success against the Islamic Republic and the women's success in keeping off their hijab and the regime not being able to do anything about it. And that's why their voices are louder. And that's why Khamenei is addressing them that no, the anti-American approach was the right approach. And in that speech, I could analyze that speech for you guys if you want. In that speech, Khamenei, in my opinion, made it clear that it doesn't matter what cost we pay. The point of the Islamic Republic is not to better Iran, is not to bring prosperity to the Iranian people. The point of the Islamic Republic is to spend Iran against the imperialist, the Western order, against this liberal Western order. This is something he mentioned in that speech, is like he said that we have given the young generation of the resistance everything that they need to fight against this modern world order. So basically what he was suggesting, in my opinion, is that the hardliners who think that we have went the wrong path is because they don't understand the point of the 1979 Islamic Revolution. It's not to make Iran great for the Iranian people. It's to turn Iran into a weapon that you throw at the head of the beast, which is America, and Israel as the little Satan, the big Satan and little Satan. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? This is very important for you guys to understand. So the hardliners themselves are, in my opinion, two segments: the pragmatist and the Mahdi cult. Okay, so both of them are extremely religious. Both of them are very, very ideological. But one group is pragmatic and is seeing the current weakness of the regime, and they think that maybe we're not going the right path. And these are again these are not the people who are against Khamenei. I'm talking about the people who are maybe within the office of the supreme leader themselves and the highest up within the IRGC. You could see the signs of a crack, right? And the cult of the Mahdi, these are the people who want nothing but to prepare Iran for the central command area for Imam Mahdi to come and lead a global revolution and take over the world. They want to give, as they said themselves, the whole point that they have is to prepare an army and the fund and the resources so that when Mahdi comes, he has everything he needs. And in their own, by what they claim themselves, to give the flag of the Islamic Republic to the Mahdi. And this would be his central base of operations, Iran. That's what they want. They care about nothing else, right? So these are the two people, the groups of people, and the division. And if you want the IRGC to topple, if you want the government to topple, again, Israel will not be able to do that by itself. United States has no appetite to do such a thing. The Iranian people do not have the resources to bring down the regime. I think the best way to do that is to take best advantage of this division, to turn them against each other. So Israel attacking the Islamic Republic is not enough to topple the regime, but the pathetic weakness that is demonstrating of the Islamic Republic, that is helping create divisions within the regime. And so are the Iranian people. They do not have enough, they do not have the weapons or the resources to basically bring down the structure, but the regime itself is turning on itself. And that's why I admire about Reza Pahlavi, because Reza Pahlavi has understood that this is the way. If we are going to be successful, the internal divisions within IRGC, that is the way that we're going to get there. So that's why he wants to keep the door open. He doesn't want to anybody who wants to leave that. Anyways, I'm getting into too much detail. Let me know, guys, was that too much? Was that too much detail? Do you guys want to know these things, or should I stay away? Right. All right. Yeah, somebody's saying, Carl's saying that is the effect of a military defeat. Yes, exactly. So military defeats have a huge impact on morale. Yeah. So LA saying, but Armin, you are confusing between Biden and Harris. Biden was okay for Israel, but Harris sounds different. Guys, Harris, to be honest, was an empty suit. I say Trump was unpredictable. Okay, but Harris is also unpredictable, because Harris was holding positions that were completely in direct opposition to her own positions just a few months before. So both of these candidates in some way are unpredictable. Harris was sometimes even more unpredictable. But to me, it seemed that at least campaign Harris, so we had Harris before, which was more progressive. Campaign Harris came much more closer to the center. And I think this is an understanding that the Democratic Party is more close to the center than the progressive wokists, because that's so that understanding, to me, and the fact that Harris seemed like an empty suit, to me suggested that the Harris administration would just be an administration that would just do everything it could do to appease the Democratic base. So given that the Democratic base is not as leftist as the woke mob is, I thought that Harris would just have a similar, it would not be Harris's position, it would be her administration filled with just regular Democratic people that would have positions similar to Biden. I think that maybe Harris would have been just something that you would put in front as the president, and it would be other people who would tell her what positions to take that would be best suited for the party. In that sense, I would think that Harris would have, when it comes to Israel at least, would have been holding similar positions to Biden, as in coming out and being aggressively in support of Israel when it comes to giving it militarily anything it needs, but also coming out and criticizing Israel here and there once in a while and taking a position against them. I would think when it comes to Israel, Harris would, in my opinion, be closer to Biden than a lot of people think. Maybe I'm right. Again, she's unpredictable, so I have no idea. Gene is saying, I think support for Israel for moral reasons important to voters in America. I think the actual effect of the war is as important. Okay, I think, okay, the actual effect of the war. Yes, short-term military support right now is more important. The actual effect of the war is more important. But long-term, we do have an image problem for Israel. We have to address, I think it's funny how their conspiracy theory is that Israel's controlled the media. In fact, if anything, Israel has been very weak at is controlling the narrative, having being effective in media. I think that's one. Israel has been strong in many, many ways, but when it comes to actually telling its story, because the Israeli story is a very powerful story. If anybody just was told the full story, understood the history, it's so easy to be pro-Israel. Like the Israeli story is such a winnable story. Like, I think just a few facts. If there are just a few facts within Israel's story that if people understood, which are reality, they would have no choice but to be on Israel's side. And it's so hard for me to understand how Israel is now doing better. Okay, more recently, they are, ever since October 7th, I'm noticing the government is investing more in being present on social media, on English, in Arabic, in Persian, showing up on talk show hosts, sending people to make their points. So Israel has recently become better at this, but up until recently, Israel sucked at this, which is amazing given how the conspiracy is that, oh, they control the media. The anti-Israeli people seem to be controlling the media to me. It's the opposite. It's the conspiracy. It's the opposite. The reality is the 180 degrees opposite of reality. Okay. So, but now this is important that we also do, guys. Every single one of you is part of this war. Remember, I said that there's the military war and the narrative war. You guys are part of the narrative war. You guys posting, sharing, liking, your soldiers in the narrative war. We are all participating in it, and it's important that we do participate in it, because again, Israel winning is not just Israel winning. Israel winning is basically the world liberal order winning. Israel is fighting our enemies. Israel is the guardians at the gate. Okay, the barbarians are trying to make it in, and Israel is standing in front of the gate. So supporting Israel is supporting the world. And you participating in this on social media, you're participating in not just supporting Israel, you're participating in protecting the world. Yeah. Eve is saying Trump is not good for anything. I'm bloody furious. Americans just proved that they are ignorant and backwards and pissed. Yeah, it's not a very good idea to shed an entire group of people. And in fact, Eve, it's this type of language that also helped you, and this narrative was helped Trump win. So if you're angry at people who are responsible for Trump winning, you should look in the mirror. This blanket blaming, demonization and condemnation of people for the choices that they make turns people off against whatever you have to sell. And also, do not. I've learned over the past couple of years that the wisdom of the crowd, is actually something that should be taken more seriously than the elite understand. Okay, so yeah. So I am going full Hegelian here. So what is actual is rational, and what is rational is actual. Basically, I'm going to that route. Okay, so I'm not going to get philosophical here, but yeah, it's not a good idea to the popular vote. So because Trump didn't just win the electoral vote this time around, he also won the popular vote, and you're just basically calling most American voters backwards and ignorant. That's an ignorant thing to say, in my opinion. Yeah. Jeff is saying a lot of stupid started starred comments. Well, Jeff, your comment has just got starred. Jeff saying anti-Semitic, ha 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 ha. Christian conservatives and Muslims are the Jew haters. Okay, these are general comments. We have Muslims who are not Jew haters. We have many Muslims who are Jew haters. We have Christian conservatives that seem to be in love with Jews, and the opposite as well. Again, what is the point of making general statements about entire groups of people? I never understand that. It's so easily proven wrong. It's funny how you said that right after you called other people's comments stupid, and then you made a comment that is generalizing entire groups of people. Lost Goth is saying, what are your thoughts on Trump as a person, Armin? Well, as a 501c, I think I'm not supposed, because I'm not supposed to take a position. I will just analyze the effects of their policies and their positions on on whatever we usually analyze in this channel. But because the Atheist Republic is a 501c, I think it's better for me not to answer that, and I don't think it matters. I don't think you're losing anything for knowing that. Like Trump as a person, why does that matter? What to us, what should matter is the positions that he's holding, what effect that's going to have on this, on today's stream is mostly focused on Israel and Iran, but what matters is that in general, what's the effect of his policies going to be on the things that I mentioned, on Ukraine, on Russia, on the economy, on global trade, on technology, on many different things. That's what should matter to you. Like, who cares what my thoughts? I mean, I do have thoughts on him personally, but who cares? Why would that matter? Doesn't. I mean, it might matter for entertainment sake, just like we're just passing time and we're just having fun, and we could, in that sense, it might matter, but it doesn't matter that much. Right? Okay. So, but even if it doesn't matter that much, I might comment on it in a social setting just because we're passing time and we're having fun. But I don't think I should be making any comments on that when I am hosting Atheist Republic, given that Atheist Republic is a 501c. So, no one was saying entering Rafah is the big deal for me. He stalled it for 4 months. Okay, so every time United States has managed to make Israel stall for something is because it gave Israel something in return. So remember that, Noam. So when you are angry with the Biden, that like, oh, you stopped us from doing this or you stopped us from doing that. Well, how did they stop Israel? Because they don't have, remember, United States doesn't have leverage over Israel when it comes to stopping their support, because that's not an option. The main leverage United States has over Israel is that if you do this for us, we will do this for you. So remember, every time the Biden administration managed to get Bibi do certain things, is because Bibi got something really juicy in return. Remember that. Yes. Hannah saying, Armin, don't put liberal order and Western world in the sentence. Liberals are anti-Western leftists. Yes, that's because you do not understand what liberalism means. In fact, I'm going to do a stream on this to show you how the enemies of the Western world are actually afraid of liberalism. A lot of people, Han is actually one of those idiots who still thinks liberalism and wokeism are the same thing. I hope most people on this stream are smarter than that. Okay, wokeism. So the greatest enemy of Islamism, Marxism, and wokeism is liberalism. And many right-leaning people, because they saw left-leaning people as liberals, they now think woke people are also liberals. You know, there's a famous saying by woke people, and they say, cut a liberal and a fascist bleeds. Wokes hate liberals more than anyone. And you have to be insanely stupid to have not realized that yet. All right. There's that. And guys, I'm going to do a member-only stream soon, showing of how the Muslims see liberalism as their greatest enemy. Liberalism and their greatest threat. Not atheism, not Christianity, not Judaism, not Hinduism. I say this as an atheist activist, not atheism, okay, but liberalism. Liberalism is the greatest threat to Islam. And I will show you that in a member-only stream. So Art is saying, I don't know, Armin, Israel won war before it had American support. Well, Art, Israel won wars when it had British support. Okay, so it didn't have, at that point, we had another superpower that was going, I mean, it was on its way out. But yeah, Israel won. Like, guys, I say Israel needs allies to win wars, and you're talking about the time that Israel didn't have American support. Did it not have support? Did Israel not have support? It had support. It might have not had American support, but it had support. It had British support. It's like nobody, not Israel, nobody wins war by their own. Not even the United States can win war by their own. Jesus Christ. Peter saying Biden and Obama release Iranian frozen assets. Yes, that sucks. Gan he is saying Israel is also developing the laser defense system, which will make us more independent from the US. Guys, if Israel becomes more self-reliant, United is becoming more self-reliant because of the help of the United States. Go look at the technology, that laser defense system. Go look at the technology that is required to develop that laser defense system. In fact, if you go look at the technology that you require to develop that laser defense system, you will realize that you need a whole bunch of countries. It's not just the United States. You need Taiwan, for example, right? You need a whole bunch of countries. In fact, you will see how globally interdependent liberal countries are if you go into the level of all the details of the step-by-step process that you need to get to that defense system. So that actually proves my point. By the way, that laser defense system, guys, I don't know if I read about this, but that's more for lower range drones, in lower altitude drones and missiles that are coming at you. Am I correct about that? It's not for, so Israel already has a 3-layer defense system. Iron Dome being one of those layers, and the THAAD system is also being added to that. But this laser defense system doesn't cover some other layers. This, like, it's not like you could get rid of the Iron Dome because of the laser defense system. This is, it will help in that in some regards, but in my understanding that it will cover some other lower areas. Yes, Darker is saying pretty much. Yeah. So this is an addition to the other defense mechanism you have. It's not, which is going to make Israel a lot stronger. Don't get me wrong. This is fantastic. And it's like very, very cost effective. But it's not going to replace completely everything else that Israel has. It still requires everything else it has. Guys, Israel will never be fully independent from the United States if it wants to survive. And that's a good thing. This is the benefit of the liberal order. This interdependence of liberal countries is a feature. It's not a bug. You should want that. It means that you rely on your allies. The strength of liberal countries comes from their interdependence. You shouldn't want to be independent. You should want to have stronger relationship with powerful countries. Okay, Lisa. Okay, we're getting. Okay, don't start any more comments. I'm just going to answer these. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Sorry. Saying, wasn't Qatar the main sponsor of Hamas and not the Islamic Republic? No. So the Islamic Republic is definitely the main supporter. So actually, I don't know how to say this in financial terms because the support comes in so many different ways. And also the Qatar sponsoring of Hamas is not for the same reasons of the Islamic Republic. I mean, technically, also Bibi allowed support for Hamas, but not for the same reasons that the Islamic Republic. So it's you have to look at the nature of the support as well, not just the amount. And again, regards to the amount financially, there's a lot more support that the Islamic Republic gave for Hamas that is not even counted. Like the Qatari one is much more out in the open, and we are more aware of it. And remember, Hamas has so many different sections. There's Hamas is a state, it was the government. And there were some people even within the Israeli government who were using Hamas as a way to give work visas, I don't know, for example, to get to people in Gaza to come to Israel and work and make money and take it back to Gaza, right? So the support that Hamas gets from the Islamic Republic is a different nature, is a different type of support. And it was specifically the type of support intended for making stuff like October 7th possible. So that's what you have to keep in mind. Again, not that the Islamic Republic is happy. Okay, so we have new information regarding the relationship between Hamas and the Islamic Republic, specifically with regards to October 7th. I don't know if I should do a stream on that, but it is so eye-opening. It is so eye-opening. The internal divisions and fighting, there's so much new information that has just gotten out, and they're so revealing and so eye-opening about how things work behind the scenes. But that's a topic for another time if we do cover that. Pete is saying, did you see the BBC anti-Semite bias report and lawsuit in the UK? No, I have not seen that. What is this? Somebody send this to me. Darker saying, with Republicans holding all the power, making reasonable deals won't be a priority for Trump. Again, what is going to be a priority for Trump is kind of a gamble. Okay, again, Trump has an unpredictability to him that I think we don't know if we could say like, I don't know. Maybe you're right. We'll see. If you're right, then come back and take credit for predicting that correctly. Jeff is saying Trump will join forces with Putin and the Islamic regime in Iran. Well, that's a statement. Join forces with Putin and the Islamic regime in Iran? What the hell? In what way? That's a statement. You were calling? Okay. I don't even know what to respond to that. In what way? This is so vague that makes no sense. I don't even know how to respond. That was kind of stupid. Coping is saying the biggest difference with Trump and Biden foreign policy from my point of view is that Trump is erratic and to an intimidating effect, whereas Biden is ambivalent that looks weak. Yes, so Biden looks weak, but his administration kind of was very aggressive in supporting Ukraine against Putin and very aggressive when it comes to giving Israel everything it needs against the Islamic Republic and its proxies. So you have a weak front, but behind the scene, he's like kind of very militarily aggressive. Okay, so Trump is going to become going to have a very strong front, very erratic, very intimidating, very unpredictable. It's going to scare a whole bunch of people, and that's going to be effective in so many ways, foreign policy wise. But when it comes to militarily, he's not going to be as aggressive as Biden, maybe. Again, we don't know. So that's the difference. Pete is saying Trump would never disrespect his largest campaign donor and son-in-law. I don't think that's good. That's why Nick Fuentes stopped supporting Trump. He didn't separate himself from Zionism. When you say Trump would never, anything that you say after that is probably wrong. Guys, don't make absolute statements. Don't make absolute statements. Why would you say never? You maybe say it's not likely to, so that would make your analysis maybe a little bit harder to challenge. But when you say never, it's so easy. It's so easy for me to dismiss that as a serious analysis. Never disrespect his largest campaign donor. I don't think Trump cares. Like, I think Trump is more unpredictable than what you're making him to seem to be. Yeah. So I don't agree with Pete. Ziv is saying there is nothing liberal in wokeism. It is the opposite of liberalism. Thank you, Ziv. Ziv understands liberalism. Ziv is saying, I think too much liberalism is just as bad as too much conservatism, because if you don't have limits, then you don't have law and order. But if you have too strict limitations, then the system will, I don't know where the rest of that is. Okay, so Ziv, I don't think that makes sense, because too much liberalism. What does that mean? Too much liberalism, because liberalism is the idea of not having too strict of a limits, except the limits that protects the framework, meaning like nationalism, for example, or maintaining the nation state, that all of this competition within that's possible. So the reduction of limits is the whole point of liberalism. That's why it's called liberalism. So what do you mean too much liberalism? Too much liberalism does not increase limits. It's hard to have too much liberalism, because liberalism is the idea of allowing other people to operate, including people who are anti-liberalism. So we cannot have too much liberalism, because liberalism by itself opens the hands of people who want to take a position against liberalism. So liberalism within itself allows people to come in and operate against it. Carl is saying maybe we should separate liberalism from oligarchic globalism that fronts as a liberalism. Yeah, so I don't know which type of globalism you're talking about, but globalism as a whole is not a bad thing. There's types of globalism that are horrible. The types of globalism that threatens nationalism and national independence and the people of nation states being able to, a nation within a nation state being able to, the right to self-determination and choosing the laws and policies for their own country. The type of globalism that threatens that is the wrong type of globalism, and it's actually not in line with liberalism. But a type of globalism that wants more trade between countries, that wants more cooperation between countries, without challenging the independence of the voter base within every nation, and every nation being able to determine its own destiny as it sees fit. That's a type of globalism that should be welcome. So globalism could be in line with liberalism, or it could be taking a position against liberalism. So it depends on the type of globalism that we're talking about here. And also Rox with the super chat. Thank you. We could end the stream with the super chat. Rox is saying, I'm ex-Muslim from Saudi Arabia. Keep making your videos and spreading truth about Islam. I'm sure you know how bad it's Europe. How bad it is. I think you mean Europe should not experience as well. Yeah, we're trying to fight all the enemies of liberalism. And right now, the three main enemies of liberalism, well, the two main enemies of liberalism are wokeism and Islam. These are the two main enemies. But the four main political entities against liberalism are the Islamic Republic, Putin, the CPC, and the North Korea. I mean, what's the part? Should I call? I don't want to call North Korea. I'm sorry, I say the CCP, CPC. I mean the CCP. But I think I should call the North Korea with all these other countries, the CPC, the CCP. Why do I keep saying the CPC? The CCP, the Islamic Republic, and the Islamic Republic. I keep mentioning an entity that is. I try to separate the government from the people. So with Russia, I don't say Russia, I say Putin. With the Iran, I don't say Iran, I say the Islamic Republic. For China, I don't say I try not to say China. I try to say the CPC, or no, actually, both are correct. CPC is the Communist Party of China. Oh, that's why I'm saying I'm using them interchangeably. CPC is the Communist Party of China, or CCP is the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, so they're both correct. CCP and CPC are both correct. Okay, but for North Korea, I keep saying North Korea. I should choose something else for North Korea so I could separate the government from the people. So I will come up with something else to say instead of the North Korea. Maybe I say Kim. I say Kim. No, I should think the. No, I will think of something. What should I say for North Korea to separate the people? Kim Jong-un, or keeping him his father, or the just say Kim Jong-un. Yeah, because for Russia we're saying Putin, so for North Korea we should say the same thing. But anyway, so remember, so this is what I'm trying to say. Ideologically, we're fighting against wokeism and Islam, but not Marxism anymore. I would think that Marxism is not as strong as it used to be before. We usually say that the three main enemies of the of liberalism is Islam, wokeism, and communism. Marxism and communism might seem like it's weak and pathetic, and not a threat to liberalism as much as before, but because wokeism focuses more on culture than economy, so. But there's another modern version of Marxism that is not wokeism, but it does believe in isolationism and command economy. So it's an offshoot of Marxism that it's not Marxism because it doesn't believe it does not advocate for absolute state control of property, or it's not like the abolition of the market or abolition of money as a whole. So it's not full on Marxist, but it is still isolationist and believes in a command economy, micromanaging the economy from a centralized authority. So it's semi-Marxist, right? So the two offshoots of Marxism are the two modern threats to liberalism. One of them is wokeism, who's focusing more on culture instead of the economy. And another offshoot that I should come up with a name for, because it's not Marxism, but it does focus on the economy like Marxism. Maybe I should just call it isolationism, it's protectionist, isolationist, and it believes in the command economy. We should come up with a name for that. Oh, wow. I should highlight this. Saying, hi, hey, Armin, I have a huge crush on you. Well, fantastic. I hope you're a woman, because that's nice. I appreciate that. I just had to highlight that. It boosted my ego. Okay, how was I was responding to this? I'm an ex-Muslim from Saudi Arabia. Oh yeah, so I said all of that to respond to Rock, saying that yeah, we're trying to fight back against the enemies of liberalism, right? And again, on this channel, we don't focus much on the enemies of liberalism when it comes to the CCP or to Putin or Kim Jong Un, because because this is an atheist channel, and it doesn't make sense for our brand of channel to talk much about how much Putin is a threat to the liberal order. But the Islamic Republic of Iran is a central focus of this channel for three reasons, right? Because it is against liberalism. It's one of the main forces against liberalism. It's because its main soft power is Islam, and Islam is one of the two main ideological enemies of liberalism. And three, because I am Iranian and I speak Persian, and given that most of the enemies of liberalism in the Middle East comes from Iran, comes from Tehran, me speaking Persian and being in touch with the Iranian community, and having a sister channel to Atheist Republic that is in Persian, basically I think equips us very well to basically fight this battle both defensively and offensively, right? So we here on this channel don't focus on North Korea, we don't focus on Russia, we don't focus on China, we focus mostly in the Middle East. And when it comes to the barbarians coming at the gate, and the gates, when I say the gates, I'm talking about the gates of the Western liberal order. The barbarians, there's a threat from outside and the threat from within. The threat from outside is the barbarians at the gate, which is, in my opinion, Islam, and then the people from within that are trying to open the gate, which to me are the Wokistani Mujahideens, right? And so we have to play this game. We have to fight this fight both offensively and defensively. And our English channel is the offensive front, and our Persian channel is the defensive front. And I actually should have the link to the Persian channel ready for you guys every time I say this in the channel, because I said the opposite. The English channel is the defensive front because we're defending the liberal countries, but the Persian channel is the offensive front because we are going for the head of the octopus. We're going into Iran. So in English, we're basically equipping Western people or Western or liberal-minded people in the West or countries with Western cultures, for example, like Israel with liberal cultures. We're equipping them with giving them the tools and the narratives to push back against the enemies of liberalism. But we're also going into the heart of where all of this poisoning is coming from, which is in Tehran. And the Persian channel is for us to go on the offensive. This is why I don't believe in an isolationist mindset. It's not good enough to say like, oh, we have to protect our borders. We have to do this in the West or do that in Israel or do that in the United States. You have to go for your enemies. And our Persian channel is doing just that. And I also posted the link to our Persian channel in the live chat for anybody who's interested. If you speak Persian, you could go there and subscribe to that channel. Okay, so let's go to our last super chat. Or Hirschfeld is saying, last Trump presidency was great for Israelis, Iranians, and moderate Arabs, but not good for Kurds and probably Ukrainians. Hope Tucker will stay away. Yeah, I think that's a good summary. Yeah, to be fair, that the Trump's presidency started the Abrahamic Accord, right? And I think that the Abrahamic Accord was so much more important for Israelis than the Jerusalem being the capital of Israel. The Abrahamic Accord is such a that is why, by the way, guys, that is why October 7th happened. The October 7th happened to stop the Abrahamic Accords from taking place. You have to understand that it was designed to stop that. And once you understand what your enemies want you not to do, it's very important that you finalize that you go ahead and do that. So when people are saying, oh, Israel can survive on its own, even if you're becoming a little bit more dependent from United States, you're doing that by building more bridges with some other countries. You can never be alone. You can never be alone. Israel requires normalizations of relationship with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, and many other countries. You require that from your survival, and Trump started that. That's amazing for Israel, and you should try to push. And this is why the anti-Arab narrative here by some of you on this channel is not helpful. Remember, the people that carried out October 7th did that so to stop you normalizing your relationship with Arabs, with other Arabs. This is why you should be smart enough not to have an anti-Arab narrative if you love Israel. You should try to normalize your relationship with Arabs. And you could also do that more effectively if you value and demonstrate that you value Israeli Arabs and show how good Israeli Arabs have it because they are Israeli citizens. That's a very powerful tool that you could advertise. Okay? Anyways. Yes, exactly. Jasmine is saying, where is it? I have to go after this. I will go. Oh, yeah. Jasmine is saying, Israel wants peace, but to have peace, they need partners. Yes. Don't fall for this idea that we could do it alone. Please don't fall for that. Okay? This is something that you could criticize Trump for basically becoming more of an isolationist. The United States is powerful because it didn't go the isolationist route. Same goes with Israel. Same goes for every freaking country out there. Okay? So as liberals on this channel, we should be against isolationism. Okay? And again, you saw that I didn't go black and white, right? So when it comes to Trump, I acknowledge the good, the bad, and everything in between. All right. So here we're not going all the way, for somebody or against somebody. We're basically trying to be as realistic as possible. Okay. And we're learning from each other. You're learning from each other on the chat. I'm learning from you. Hopefully you're learning something from me. I don't know, maybe, hopefully, if you learn something here on this channel, like this channel. Again, I think like this channel is very good when it comes to other places. This channel might not be a very good source, when it comes to Islam, the Middle East, this channel is a very good source of information, especially when it comes to what's happening in Iran and the Islamic Republic. This channel, I'm proud to say that this channel is a very, very good. I know I'm basically complimenting myself, but to be honest, I think it's undeniable that this channel is a very good source of analysis, especially when it comes to what's happening in Iran. Anyways, love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking the stream. Oh, I don't love all of you guys. I only love the people who like the stream. Screw you if you've been here for 2 hours and did not like the stream. Like, what the hell? Like, I do not love you. Okay, I know how streamers saying a blanket statement to I love you to all of their audience. You don't get no love from me. No love from me if you have not liked the stream. Zero love for you. Shame on you, in fact. Shame on you. Anyway. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna head out. Like the stream, share the stream, recommend this channel, and until next time, stay liberal. Mwah. Bye.